Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to be talking today about showing up as if you already have created what you want. Now, I had someone DM me and say they're a big fan of the podcast, which I love. I hope you're listening, and just say that they have really been struggling to show up as if they are the version of themselves who have already created what they want, and they really are wanting more money in their business. They're wanting to be financially richer. They're wanting to be physically richer. They're wanting to be mentally richer. And she had said she feels like she's losing opportunities to make money because she's not showing up with that kind of energy. And so people probably aren't hiring her as much. And then the other thing that she said here is just she's wanting to be the version who can be that richer version that I talk about mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, experientially, whatever it is for you. And that she really trusts that she's going to be able to create everything that she's really wanting. So I figured today we could really dive in and talk about that. First, I just want to kind of give a definition of what I take it to mean when someone says showing up as if I already have what I want. So how I really take that is you are showing up as the version of yourself who already has the confidence, the energy, the persona, the belief, the trust that you've already done it. So let's say that you want to, I'm going to give you a couple examples. Let's say you're wanting to lose 20 pounds. That would be you showing up every single day in the gym, in the kitchen, through your habits, like you've already been capable of losing the 20K. And for example, something that you'll see a lot is people really fall off with their habits, or they feel like it's going to be so hard to lose 20 pounds. And I don't know if I can do it. And they play all these mind games with themselves, which gives them a reason to kind of back out and quit early and feel like they can't do it. Versus someone who shows up as if they've already lost the 20 pounds. They will probably show up to the gym like they know exactly what they're doing. They're going to be here every day. This is going to be their home away from home. They're going to show up in the kitchen like they've got these things down pat, and they're going to show up as if it's no big deal to lose the 20 pounds. I can do that. Another example might be you're wanting to make more money in business. Let's say you want to hit $30,000 months. I don't know. Then that would be you showing up with the caliber of content, of conviction, of confidence, as if you're already making that amount. And it really comes down to you don't need the proof in your reality to validate that you get to be that person. And I'll just give you a third example. If you're really wanting that head-turning confidence, like you want to be the person with Riz, you want to be the person who just walking down the street, people stare, which is legit a real thing. You want to be the person who people can just tell that you're magnetic and they instantly love you and want to be your friend, and you get, invited to all these opportunities. Then it's you having to show up as that person and respond to people as that person and carry yourself as that person before you actually ever have become that person. Is this something that is required to create the results you want? No. I'll be honest with you. No, I don't think it is. Does it help? Yes. Does it make the process go faster? Yes. Does it allow you to magnetize more results? Yes. Does it make people want to choose you faster and help you get there in a more succinct, speedy way? Yeah, absolutely. This is something that I think you should strive towards, and I am still even striving towards with my next level right now. And it just makes it all the better, because who wants to go around doubting that you can do it and pulling back and questioning yourself and feeling like you have to get this perfect and that you're not going to no one wants to do that. And so being able to show up as if you already have it at the end of the day is just being a confident bitch. It's showing up with the confidence and the certainty in yourself as if it's no big deal. I'm going to make this happen. What I want to go through today is the 3 core reasons that people tend to struggle showing up as if they've already created something. And I want you to not just watch this episode. Don't just watch or listen. Apply what I'm saying. Do the questions. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'll probably say it many more times in my life. When people actually sit and do the work, and I find myself doing this too, is it's easy to just consume, and then go about your day. But if I say, get out your journal, ask yourself this question, all these things, and you actually do that, I've had clients make $10,000+ off that. I've had clients lose weight off of that. I've had clients manifest relationships off of that. So go, apply it, okay? Just a reminder. But let's talk about the first core thing. I think one of the biggest reasons that people struggle to show up with the confidence that they need to have to create what they want, and that's really what I'm going to call it here, is because you're over-identifying with your current reality and your current identity. And what I mean by that is you are using who you are today and what you currently have going on and your current qualities and where you are in life to decide who you can be and where you can go. And logically, I get it. It makes sense. It makes sense that you're like, well, if I've never been confident, then becoming a confident person would be hard. Sure, I follow your logic there. Or I follow your logic of I've tried to go to the gym and lose these 20 pounds for the last 2 years, and my weight's barely fluctuating, so what's going to be different this time? I understand you. I'm with you. And you don't need to try and sell yourself on it or me on it. I get where you're coming from, and it makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense at all. And I completely have to stop, even with myself, and I've done this at every single level, have to stop buying into that bullshit. That who you are and where you've been dictates who you can be and where you're going to go. You can be a certain person in your entire life. You could have been this person. You could have been Mackenzie or Michael or Danielle or Mujita, or you could be like any of these people. I'm just naming people in my life that are coming to mind. You could have been that person for the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't care. But it doesn't mean you have to continue being that person just because that's who you've been. And I'm not saying we're going to do this complete 180 and you're never going to be this person anymore. But it's just saying if you are someone who has struggled to build confidence, to go to the gym, to make the kinds of money you want, that doesn't mean that has to be the continuation of your story. And the reason it's very likely been your story for this long is because you've subscribed to that story, you've given yourself that narrative, and you've bought into that limitation. I talk about this so much in Audacious, this entire topic, but you are simply living in a world of your own perceptions. There is the truth about the world, and there is your perception on the world. And you simply live in your own little reality that you have made. And you will live out your perceptions, meaning you will live out your limitations. So if you are fighting to keep certain limitations, like making money has been hard, or it might not even come out as a limitation. It might come out something more as, well, last year I made $150,000. And so it's like, there's just no freaking way I could make $500,000 this year. Or that you just don't really like the gym and you're just not really a gym person, right? Like, you're keeping these limitations and none of them are real, but they will become your reality. And when it comes down to this core part of you are letting who you are today decide where you can go and who you can be, it's just simply an over-identification with your limitations and your perceptions. When you can change them at any point in time. And if you're sitting there right now being like, okay, but how? How do I change it? Literally, and if you don't have it right now, go save $100 over the next month. Get inside my membership, Audacious. I teach you the exact formula for becoming unrecognizably confident. It is everything that I did to go from crippling insecurity, struggling with my body, really struggling with my perceptions of the world, and feeling like I was this small, timid person, to becoming someone incredibly powerful, coaching women around the freaking globe how to become confident. Everything I did to have that massive transformation is in there for $99 a month. And it's still what I use today to keep growing. Okay, so I show you exactly how I'm there. But I'm going to give you a couple very, very small examples to show you how and why you don't want to decide where you can go based on who you are. One very light example. I have told myself my entire life, I'm not a creative person. And there was one point in my life, how old was I? I was 23. I was 23 years old. Where I was like, you know what? This is a shitty story. And I don't even know if it's entirely true. Sure, I might not be able to paint like an artist. I might not be able to just like freehand sketch. But I don't think it's ultimately true that I'm not a creative person. And I put that limitation down. That same year, not much after, what I found is that I am like freakishly good at decorating cakes. It's a form of creativity. I just picked it right up, and turns out I'm really good at it, really creative, and every single time I make a cake, I get offers to make more cakes and someone to pay me, and someone wants me to open a bakery, which I will not be doing, but it's just like I stopped subscribing to the perception of I'm not creative, and a whole new world opened up in that way. I see this all the time with clients, with money, with debt. If if you are letting debt mean, for example, that you're not good with money and you're not good at making money, when that's probably not even true at all, they're completely uncorrelated things, really. And then you want to be financially savvy. Let's say that you have debt, but you want to be financially savvy. What you will do is not let yourself learn how to be financially savvy when it's always been an option, because debt exists. And I've worked on this with clients, and once you allow yourself rather to see that you don't have to stay fixed in how you see yourself, you'll learn how to manage your money all of a sudden. And all of a sudden your debt gets paid off. And I remember I did this with one client where she was telling herself the story of, I couldn't possibly have savings and be financially savvy. And that's what she really wanted to be. She just wanted to be a financially savvy girl who was powerful with her money. But because she had debt and she'd had debt her whole life, she was like, that just can't be me. I'm always going to have the debt. It's just how it is. And as soon as we shifted into seeing like who you've been these past 10 years doesn't mean anything about who you get to be tomorrow. Within 2 months, she paid off $25,000 of debt. $25,000 of debt in 2 months from someone who hadn't touched her debt in 10 years. You need to really sit down and audit yourself of, where am I deciding what's possible for me about what I can do in the future in all areas of life, with my self-image, with my body, with my relationships, with my business, with my health, whatever, my friendships. Where am I deciding what's possible based on who I've been, rather than just simply tapping into the desire of what I want to have and then aligning and becoming who I need to be from there? So that's one of the biggest blocks that I'll see, is people are deciding who they can be simply based on who they've been, when those two things don't have to be correlated. It is literally the equivalent of, you have lived in this box. Let's say on, a driveway, you can like use chalk. Let's say you've drawn a box around yourself on the driveway of chalk. You have literally convinced yourself, well, I can't go outside of the box because I've always been in this box. But it's like, I'm saying chalk because it's literally as simple as you stepping over it. It really is as simple as you deciding, nope, I don't have to stay in this box anymore. I'm just going to take one step out. It is the same thing. And it's the reason people struggle with this so much is because it's actually it can be scary. It is scary to decide that there's really no rules. All the perceptions are just opinions that you've decided to really ground into, and you can become anyone you want. And you can let that scare you, or you can let that excite you. And when I first started my confidence journey, it was an exciting thing for me. It was exciting that it was like, okay, I've been this crippling insecure person who hates her body and has been in toxic relationships and just struggles so much with thinking I can do anything. But okay, if I don't have to be that person anymore, who do I want to be? And I would ask yourself that, who do I want to be? And I decided the thing that came so loud and clear for me back then was, I want to make confidence my strength. And then from there, if it became possible that, okay, I can really be anyone here, and I don't have to decide that I can't be a confident person because I haven't been a confident person, and it's something I can create. I just get to cross that line, that little piece of chalk on the driveway, and go past it. I don't even know what's out there anymore. And so it's like, it can be scary, but it's so liberating when you just decide that where you go and who you can be is completely open. You can decide anything. So that's the first thing that people struggle with when showing up as the version of themselves who's already created what they want, and with that level of head-turning confidence. The second reason that people really struggle with this is because I call this the paradox of proof. People really feel like they need proof that they can do it before they show up in that way. For example, if you're wanting to make $100,000 for the rest of the year and you don't have proof of it, people are like, well, I can't show up with that level of confidence because I just don't know if it can happen. So like, I don't have proof that it can happen. So I'm struggling to show up with that level of self-assurance. And it's almost like a chicken and the egg thing, where it's like, to be able to go after the thing you want proof that it can happen. But to even have proof that it can happen, you'd have to go after it. Whenever someone tells me that they're like, I'm struggling to believe without proof, which I hear a lot as a confidence coach, really reading between the lines, what someone is actually telling me is, I have a deep desire and need for certainty right now. Like, I need to know that I'm not going to fail. I need to know that I'm going to be safe going after this. That's all that's going on when someone's like, I need proof, I need proof. And what people end up doing, I talk about this in Audacious too, is people end up waiting around for the proof. People end up, the longer they wait, the longer they fear failing, the more unsafe they feel going after it. And then they've just created more of a problem where they don't feel safe putting themselves out there, let alone showing up with the confidence. This one's even related, number one, because it could really be the same thing, because you don't need proof. You don't need any evidence that you can succeed. You don't need a single thing. And that's where people go into like, well, I'm going to seem delusional. I'm going to seem crazy and someone's going to call me out and all these things. It's like, so be delusional, be called out, because that means that you are literally letting the opinions of other people determine what you can and cannot have in life. That you are saying that because you don't have proof of something, you really can't go after it, because all that's going to get you is staying in your current reality. You don't need proof, because you become the proof. You create the proof and you give yourself that evidence. I didn't have any proof I could be confident. I didn't have any proof I could be an entrepreneur. I didn't have any proof that I was going to be able to successfully move to California not knowing anyone. Like, I didn't have proof of a lot of these things, but I did it because I decided that I didn't need proof. I could be the proof. And when you're craving certainty, here's the switch. You're looking for certainty in an outcome, which is going to be the fruitless activity. Like, you're never going to have proof that it can happen. And even if hundreds and thousands and millions of people have gone before you and have done it, you still often don't feel like that's enough proof. So it's really not certainty in the outcome that you need. What you need is certainty that you're going to be able to show up for yourself and do what it takes. Certainty is not 100% that the outcome's going to happen, and that's where people get it wrong. You need to just develop trust, faith, certainty that you're going to do what you need to do to start moving and creating the outcome. That's it. And that's the icky part that people don't like. People don't like having to trust themselves. People don't like having to rely on themselves. It feels hard. Yeah, it is hard, but it's a skill. It's just a skill, and you build that skill of self-trust through self-talk first and foremost. And you're going to have times, and this is what I think people think of, like, if I have certainty that I can do it and that I'm not going to fail, then I can show up confidently. But it's like, even if you have certainty, it's not going to work out perfectly. Like, I've had seasons of being certain and it's looked like being confident as hell and audacious, and I'm like honed in like a freaking animal and just making shit happen left and right. And I've had seasons where things actually look like shit. It doesn't look like it's gonna work. It feels really hard. There's so much uncertainty, but I hold the faith. And the first kind that I said, that like sexy kind, only happens when you can actually get through the second kind, where it's like uncertain and hard. You don't need proof. And you need to stop asking yourself questions and audit, if you're doing this, of like, when is this going to happen? And if it's going to happen, or what if I fail? And what if it doesn't happen? Or what does it mean if I can't get there? And instead ask yourself the questions of, who do I need to be today? What moves am I going to make today? What do I need to decide about myself today to feel like I can powerfully show up for this? All you're saying, if you're going through this, is that I feel unsafe really going after this. And so it's about developing safety through giving yourself what you need, through self-soothing, self-validating, through making sure that you're addressing your fears, giving yourself the self-talk, building the self-trust, so that you've built up so much self-trust that you can actually show up really, really confidently without any proof. And the third core reason that people really struggle to show up as if they've already created the thing that they want, really showing up without confidence, is because they've just put their worth in it. And so if you feel like, once I hit this milestone, once my body looks like this, once I buy the house, once I have the relationship, once I make this kind of money, once I pay off debt, blah, 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 then I'll be worthy, then I'll feel better, then I, people will perceive me differently and I'll just be better. Then you can't show up with the confidence you want, because you've already put your worth in it. You've already given your power away to this milestone, when to be confident, you need to hold all your power. You need to claim that. And confident people, really, at the end of the day, they're okay if they fail. They don't love it. No one wants to fail. But if they fail, it's okay. They'll figure it out. They'll pick themselves up, brush it off and keep going. because it doesn't mean anything about them. They decide how they feel about themselves, not the external reality, not events that happen, not a milestone or a lack of a milestone. And when you have this one going on, what's actually happening is you're like, I don't feel worthy of showing up with the confidence of someone who has made it happen. You feel like you can only be that confident once it's happened. Your worth is way too tied up in that. And this is something that I like the time I think I did it most powerfully, because there was no proof, because I had like no evidence of it, and I was just purely freshly deciding this, was when I started my business. Is I was showing up with the conviction and the confidence and the certainty of someone who already had the multiple six-figure business before I made a penny. And it's because I wasn't going to feel any more worthy of it. I had already felt so worthy. I was already like, I can do this. I believe it. I know I can have this happen. And I just believed. had such blind, almost delusional belief around this, because it didn't matter. I was just chasing a dream. And I think people lose that magic of chasing dreams. And they get so into like, almost like status, or like not status quo, of social status, of like, this person's got it and I got to be better than this person, and pressurizing it and putting their worth in it, and making everything so dependent on each other, of like, if I don't earn this money, then I can't have the house, or then I can't do this, or then I can't do that. And you've just sucked all the joy out of it. Like, you've just literally made it awful. That sounds awful. And instead, it's really about like, how can you tap back in to like, this is no big deal. Even if things are riding on it, this is no big deal. I get to have fun with this. Like, I'm chasing my dreams, and how freaking miraculous is it? And how blessed am I? And how privileged am I that I get to chase this dream? And how can I have fun with it? How can I create this in a way that it just gets to be my journey? And that it, like, whether I hit this or not doesn't matter, because, or how fast I hit it doesn't matter, because I'm just chasing what I want, and I believe in it, and I believe that I can have it. And when you take your worth out of it and you make it okay, how it happens, when it happens, the way it comes about, and you just have fun with it, you're going to do so much better. You really are. And I think about, like, my family plays a lot of games and I'm very competitive. I think about the times when, if I go into an activity with my family, for example, and I'm like, I have to win, I have to win, I have to win, and I like put pressure on it, then like someone comes along and they do better than me, they're probably doing better than me actually, because they're having fun and I've like pressurized this. And so I've had to really like take pressure off things like that and be like, you know what? I'm just going to go for this goal. I'm just going to try and win. I'm just going to do it. And whenever I do that, I have more fun, and then I win. Okay. And so my family always jokes. They're always like, you are always such a sore loser. And you know what? It's fine. But I like winning, and it's fine. But it's just the example of like, when you show up and have fun with this, and when you take pressure off, and when you know that you're worthy either way, and you have that faith, it really comes back to a faith of like, I'm going to make this work, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to get there. And it doesn't have to look a certain way. And I'm just going to like, let my journey be my journey, and have faith that it's going to happen, and believe it, and visualize it, and tap into that energy. You show up with that confidence because it's no big deal. Your worth's not tied up, and you become so much more powerful from that state, because you're not doing it from a place of lack, of like need, and of scarcity. You're doing it from joy and abundance and confidence. All right, so if you are really struggling to get results, this could be a play. This could be a play, because you are showing up as a version of yourself who it's almost like you're giving off the energy. I haven't created this yet, and I know I haven't created it yet, and I'm not going to show up with the confidence that I need, and I'm second guessing myself. People read that energy. They feel that energy, even if they're not consciously thinking about it. They're subconsciously picking up on your energy of, I don't feel like I'm good enough to have this yet. And when you start showing up with the true, powerful audacity and confidence of like, this is no big deal, and I'm going to go create it, and I believe that I can have it, and I'm just going to have a great time doing this, and I don't need proof, and I'm going to decide that I get to, see how this goes, and I get to have fun with this, and I get to show up powerfully. And you know what? I really believe I can do this, and I really believe in what I'm doing, and I really believe in myself. People love that energy. They want so much more of it. And so if you are struggling with these things, do the little audits that I put in here. Come talk to me. Come DM me if you're struggling with this on Instagram. Like, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let me see where I can help you with this. And like this DM that this person sent me, it all came because I was like, hey, just come DM me. Let's talk about it. And I gave her a bunch of audios about it. I'm so happy to do that with you. So come DM me. And if you are not already, come hop in either Audacious or Unlimited. Audacious is my $99 per month membership. It is just around my formula for building real high confidence, for making confidence a strength, and really watching as that changes how you show up and how you move through life in different areas. It is self-paced. It is so fun. It's like 80 plus trainings and videos, and people just like plug in their headphones, listen at the gym, on their walks, when they're at the grocery store. It's just very good energy. It's really easy to shift confidence just from pressing play on a couple videos. And then I also have Unlimited, which is the room where people come to really become unrecognizably confident and show up powerfully, learn how to believe in themselves, lead themselves, trust themselves, so much more, and get really big results in their body, in their business, in their bank account, in all different areas. And it's so much more coaching. It is you and me really working, and you get this beautiful large vault of all my trainings. You get Audacious included. And it's really just helping you become the version of yourself who is magnetic, who is relentless in creating what she wants, who really shows up for herself, believes in herself, doesn't second guess herself anymore. And if you're a female founder, it's perfect because I also have a course, Breadwinner, in there all around how did I hit multiple six figures every single year, and really the mindset and approach that I took there. So I have Audacious, I have Unlimited, if you're wanting more of that coaching. And I would love, love, love to have you review the podcast, leave a review, leave a comment, leave anything. And thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Everything you need is in the show notes below.